Today's update is one that millions of Americans have been waiting for. Former President Donald Trump has officially signed off on a new direction for Social Security and SSDI payments, a move that could have a real impact on seniors, retirees, and people with disabilities across the country. Whether you're receiving benefits now or expecting them in the near future, this latest development could affect how much you receive, when you get paid, and what changes are coming next. Let's break it all down clearly, step by step. First, let's talk about what this sign-off really means. Over the past few months, there's been intense debate about the future of Social Security, from long-term funding concerns to short-term boosts designed to help older Americans deal with inflation and rising living costs. Trump's approval signals a new phase of reform, a combined approach that promises to strengthen the Social Security Trust Fund while adjusting how payments are managed for SSDI and retirement beneficiaries. This isn't just another routine announcement. It represents the start of a recalibration in how benefits will be prioritized and protected going forward. In simple terms, the plan introduces two core ideas. The first is about stability, ensuring that Social Security remains solvent for decades, avoiding the feared trust fund depletion date that experts once projected for the mid-2030s. The second is about fairness and efficiency, improving the process for distributing SSDI benefits and reducing backlogs that have left thousands waiting for months to get their disability payments approved. The sign-off from Trump indicates a coordinated effort between policy teams, economic advisors, and agencies to start implementing measures that could make a tangible difference by early 2026. Now, let's focus on what this means for regular beneficiaries, the millions of seniors who depend on Social Security every month to pay their bills, buy groceries, and afford medication. The administration's new approach involves reviewing the annual cost of living adjustment formula. For years, the COLA increases have been based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, known as CPIW. Critics have long argued that this formula doesn't reflect the real-world inflation seniors face, especially for healthcare and housing. Under the new direction, there's growing momentum to move toward an elderly-based inflation index, often called CPIE, which could result in higher adjustments each year. This potential shift is significant. If adopted, seniors might see stronger benefit increases starting with the next adjustment cycle. The goal is simple: to make Social Security more responsive to the real cost of aging. In an environment where Medicare premiums, rent, and prescription prices continue to climb, this would help ensure that benefit checks don't lose value year after year. It's one of the most practical changes being discussed, and Trump's sign-off gives it new momentum. Let's also talk about SSDI, the Social Security Disability Insurance Program that helps millions of disabled Americans who can't work full-time. One of the biggest complaints from SSDI recipients has been the delay in receiving benefits after approval or the long wait times for hearings. The new plan includes directives to modernize the claims process, expand digital access, and speed up disability determinations. That could mean shorter waiting periods, fewer rejections caused by paperwork issues, and faster updates for people already enrolled. In short, the government is trying to make the system not just bigger, but smarter. Beyond the operational side, there's a deeper policy message in this shift. The administration wants to emphasize that Social Security isn't just a monthly payment, it's a foundation of dignity and stability for older Americans. That's why the plan also considers additional relief measures for those with the lowest incomes, possibly expanding supplemental payments for seniors who rely on both Social Security and SSI. By coordinating with state agencies, the goal is to ensure no one falls through the cracks, especially as inflation continues to squeeze fixed incomes. Of course, with every big announcement, there's always speculation. Some fear that reform could mean cutbacks, while others hope it signals a new stimulus-style boost for seniors. For now, officials have clarified that the intention isn't to reduce benefits, but to realign funding and payment schedules to make the program stronger. That's an important distinction. Social Security remains one of the most trusted and relied upon federal programs, and any attempt to weaken it would be politically risky. So the focus is more on sustainability, finding ways to fund benefits without burdening younger taxpayers or creating future deficits. Another point that's been raised involves the timing of payments. Under the new structure, the Social Security Administration could adopt a more flexible calendar for certain groups. For example, recipients who face urgent needs or who depend on SSDI might see early disbursement options during emergencies or cost of living crises. This kind of responsiveness would mark a big improvement over the traditional fixed date system, which often leaves beneficiaries waiting when inflation spikes or disaster strikes. The vision here is to create a more human-centered approach to federal payments, one that feels timely and compassionate rather than bureaucratic. The broader economic context also matters. Inflation may be lower than it was a year ago, but prices for essentials remain high. Energy, housing, and healthcare costs have not returned to pre-pandemic levels. For millions of retirees living on Social Security alone, this reality is harsh. Trump's plan acknowledges that fact and ties benefit protection to ongoing economic performance. That means adjustments could become more dynamic, not just once a year, but responsive to mid-year inflation triggers. It's a concept economists call real-time indexing, and while it's still under review, it's one of the boldest ideas being tested for future implementation. There's also talk about targeted one-time payments or inflation relief bonuses for the lowest income seniors. Although nothing has been officially confirmed, policy drafts suggest that such payments could be funded from surplus collections or redirected administrative savings. If approved, these one-time boosts would act as mini stimulus checks for retirees who struggle the most. The plan reflects the administration's recognition that inflation affects everyone differently, and that one size does not fit all when it comes to Social Security relief. Meanwhile, for SSDI beneficiaries, additional funding is expected to help streamline coordination with the Department of Veterans Affairs. This is especially important for veterans with disabilities who qualify for both SSDI and VA benefits. In the past, overlapping processes caused confusion and delays. The new interagency system would simplify verification, reduce duplicate paperwork, and accelerate combined payments. It's a technical change with very real human benefits, meaning faster support for those who served and sacrificed. Now that we've understood the foundation of Trump's sign-off and what this new turn for Social Security and SSDI means in principle, let's take a closer look at how these changes could affect actual payments and timelines. Millions of Americans depend on these checks as their main or only source of income, so even small updates can bring major relief or new responsibilities. The next steps, expected to roll out over the coming months, focus on both immediate adjustments and long-term restructuring that will shape how benefits are delivered well into the next decade. The first visible change could be seen in the payment calendar for 2026. While the traditional schedule will remain for most beneficiaries, meaning payments still tied to birth dates, some pilot programs will begin testing flexible disbursements for low-income or emergency-eligible groups. This means that seniors who experience sudden financial hardship, such as housing insecurity or medical emergencies, may be eligible for accelerated payments without waiting for their regular deposit date. Officials say this initiative aims to bring more real-life flexibility into the Social Security system, making it less rigid and more compassionate. At the same time, beneficiaries may also notice small but steady increases in their monthly payments tied to revised inflation calculations. The proposed shift toward the CPIE index, which tracks inflation specifically for older Americans, could result in an average benefit bump of about 0.3 to 0.5% higher each year compared to the old method. That might sound modest, but for retirees on fixed incomes, those extra dollars each month can make a real difference over time. The purpose is to ensure that checks reflect the true costs of living as people age, especially considering that healthcare expenses typically rise faster than average inflation. There's also been a renewed conversation about tax thresholds on Social Security benefits. Many retirees have complained that the income limits determining whether their Social Security is taxed haven't been adjusted for decades. Under the new plan, there's a proposal to raise those thresholds, meaning fewer retirees would owe federal taxes on their benefits. If enacted, this would effectively increase take-home pay for millions of seniors without changing the gross benefit amount. It's one of the clearest examples of a quiet benefit boost that doesn't require new spending but still helps recipients keep more of what they already earned. For SSDI recipients, the story is slightly different but equally important. Trump's new direction pushes for administrative modernization, which means cutting down the long, frustrating wait times for disability determinations. Many applicants today wait several months, sometimes even a year, for a decision. The updated system aims to use better technology and coordinated reviews between the SSA and state disability offices, speeding up results dramatically. Faster approvals, clearer communication, and better tracking tools are at the heart of this reform. It's about restoring dignity and reducing stress for people who are already dealing with medical and financial challenges. Another area under focus is fraud prevention and overpayment recovery. The Social Security Administration has been under scrutiny for accidentally overpaying some beneficiaries and then demanding large repayments. These clawbacks have caused panic for thousands of people who received letters saying they owed thousands of dollars. Under the new plan, the government is expected to introduce a more forgiving and transparent overpayment system, one that considers hardship before demanding repayment. Instead of harsh collections, seniors could be offered income-based repayment plans or complete forgiveness in extreme cases. This is an important step toward making the program more humane and less punitive. Let's also talk about the political and economic backdrop that led to this moment. With the 2026 fiscal year approaching, debates in Congress have become more urgent. Lawmakers from both parties understand that Social Security reform is unavoidable, but their approaches differ. What Trump's sign-off represents is a signal of cooperation, a willingness to act before the problem becomes a crisis. The goal is to preserve the trust fund while reassuring seniors that their benefits are safe. It's a balancing act between fiscal responsibility and compassion for those who depend on these payments the most. One of the most significant goals of this new direction is to protect benefits for future generations. Many younger Americans worry that Social Security won't exist by the time they retire. The revised funding structure being discussed includes gradually lifting income caps for high earners while keeping the system stable for middle and lower income workers. That means wealthier contributors could pay a bit more into the system, helping to secure the benefits of those who rely on them most. This change aligns with Trump's broader message of protecting seniors without raising general taxes on working families. In addition to payment protection, there's growing attention on supplemental relief options. Some economists working with federal advisors have floated the idea of occasional inflation stabilization bonuses, small one-time payments during periods of high inflation. These would not be permanent increases, but rather short-term relief measures targeted to seniors with limited resources. It's similar in spirit to the stimulus checks that were distributed during the pandemic, but more controlled and specifically tied to inflation levels. If adopted, these temporary bonuses could become a new tool for supporting seniors in difficult economic cycles without straining the Social Security fund. Another key focus of Trump's updated direction is better communication with the public. Many seniors feel confused by policy jargon, letters filled with legal terms, and inconsistent updates. The new plan includes improvements in how the Social Security Administration communicates, with simpler notices, plain language explanations, and easier access to digital and phone assistance. That may sound minor, but for millions of older Americans who find government systems overwhelming, clearer communication is crucial. It means fewer mistakes, less anxiety, and a stronger sense of trust. As we move closer to the implementation phase, beneficiaries should pay attention to three main things: upcoming cost of living announcements, any official mail from the SSA about pilot payment changes, and new tax rule updates. These small details can make a big difference in how much you receive and when. Seniors are also encouraged to keep their contact information updated with the Social Security Administration so they don't miss important notices. The SSA has promised to release more specific timelines as soon as each phase of the plan is finalized. In the broader picture, this new direction could mark the beginning of a more modern, flexible, and fair Social Security system. While change can be unsettling, it's important to remember that the purpose of these adjustments is to protect the program's future and make sure every dollar reaches those who truly need it. Trump's sign-off signals not just a policy update, but a message to seniors that their voices have been heard, that inflation, fairness, and timeliness are finally being taken seriously again. For those on SSDI, this shift could be even more life-changing. Faster claim processing, reduced overpayment risks, and potential coordination with VA and Medicaid programs will make it easier to live with security and peace of mind. Every small reform, from technology upgrades to policy tweaks, adds up to a smoother, more predictable system for those who have long struggled with delays and uncertainty. As this new chapter begins, one message stands out. Social Security and SSDI are not just numbers in a federal budget. They represent decades of hard work, sacrifice, and contribution. Every beneficiary has earned these payments through a lifetime of effort, and every reform aims to safeguard that legacy. Whether you're a retiree waiting for your next deposit or a disabled worker counting on your monthly check, these updates remind us that government programs can evolve while still protecting the people who built them. So, as we close this report, remember this: the changes coming to Social Security and SSDI are meant to secure your future, not threaten it. Stay informed, watch for official updates, and make sure your information is current with the SSA. If this new plan succeeds, seniors across America could see a stronger, fairer, and more responsive system, one that truly respects the value of every American who has worked, contributed, and now deserves peace of mind in retirement. And that's the latest on Trump's sign-off and the new turn for Social Security and SSDI payments. The coming months will bring more clarity, but one thing is certain, the era of inaction is over. The nation's most important benefit program is entering a new phase, one built on modernization, compassion, and commitment to those who depend on it most.